Hello again, and welcome to New Casting Astro. This episode will be a little bit more interesting compared to previous episodes because, as of right now, instead of just an audio version, I am collaborating and adding video. So, I think on the ending of the last episode I added, which was about the eclipses, we now have a option for video. And also, for example, collaboration with other people could also be included with video. So as of right now, we're just going to start displaying the chart, which I think is important for you guys to start seeing. So apparently, during the first season, I didn't cover a few of the new moons. And the first one that I'm going to be covering again is the new moon Cancer. And for this one, this will be happening July 14th, a little before 7 a.m. Eastern time. And again, guys, I usually use USA areas for my charts, and specifically, I usually go with the Philadelphia area, Pennsylvania, basically just based on the country I was born in and how important it is to me. So yeah, this will be happening in about 22 degrees of Cancer. And as we already know, that's when the sun and the moon meets together in the sign, formulating a new cycle, new moon. So for this one, it's going to be kind of fun because as of right now, you're working with the Jupiter transit going into Leo, early degrees of Leo. A lot of the information last year, we did cover Jupiter being in Cancer, which was, its water sign where it's exalted. Usually dealing with the home. So now with the Leo, we're dealing with a little bit more personality, a fire sign. Excuse me. So again, with the fire signs, they're a little bit more expressive and fiery. For example, being that Leo will have Jupiter there, it's expanding and, dramatic stuff. So you would have it trying to the Saturn and Neptune area. Saturn will be 14 degrees of Aries, but you do have Neptune at 4 degrees. So either way, you're making a bit of a trine, as they call them, with fire, water, but this is more focused on the fire side. So I wouldn't necessarily say explosive, but definitely a little bit more definitive. So going away from the emotion and, the nurturing to a little bit more self-willed or a good amount of direction. Leo is a fixed fire sign, and then you have Aries, a cardinal fire sign. So definitely choosing a path, which is probably very good for a lot of people globally because, there's a lot of people that sit on their hands. And unfortunately, that could mean a bit of aggression because it's a fire sign. It's not as, mellow, smooth, or emotional, as they call it, with the water sign. So just be on the lookout that how that might fit in your life. So with this new moon, you just want to make your own intentions because, again, you are focused on whatever is important to you, for your home, nurturing, because that's what Cancer brings. Again, it's like the crab, soft inside, their exterior armor, which is 100% important these days for people. But on the opposite, you do have a new beginning because this transit of Jupiter, it changes from it being a little bit more nurturing and emotional to probably getting some work done or probably getting some information and a little bit more aggressively after being in such a kinder position. Even with the trines it makes to these planets were in a water sign, which was Pisces, Neptune, Saturn. And now they're in fire sign, so it's just a little bit more energy available. You have to think about that because it's like the fire dynamic versus water dynamic. When both elements meet up, it just usually causes steam because one will, extinguish the other, which is, hand in hand these days with polarized conversations, etc. From there, you want to look at, which is probably pretty major, the Uranus and Mars conjunction. At this point, they're still in a pretty good conjunction area, Mars being 11 degrees and Uranus being 4 degrees. So it probably will be pretty aggressive words available on expansive conversations, definitely. And also the mind for most people picking and choosing what's important to them or just really juggling what isn't important to them. Because that's what usually it is with Gemini, talkative, but usually have a lot of things on the mind and usually dual because it's a mutable sign. So it just adds more, energy to this new moon because, you're talking and then, you got to build a little bit of your feeling there, but we're moving away from the feeling and then we're going into more of the actions because that's what fire is. It's fire is seen most of the time. And it's not always in the best place, but fire can also be a little bit in a hurt type of environment because, if you touch fire, you get burned. So I would say that a lot of that could be available once this time period comes around. It's a summertime. Of course, people are going to be, wanting to let their hair down or, maybe they get a haircut, whatever they want to do to express themselves. That will be 100% very important as we go through the months of summer. And I'm pretty sure, you got to think about weather-wise, whether it's going to be drought available or no drought. You just never know. And then also, fire threats, you got to think about that stuff too. So it's very important that you guys, think of the metaphysics, the themes, because a lot of people are looking forward to a summer, but they got to understand, we need our nurturing, which comes with this new moon to consider, such as, our land. So, you got to do a lot to protect these things. And you just never know what the human race will decide these days. So if you are focused, that matters a lot. So in my personal opinion, this is good because, you get a chance to always work on the things that are important to you. Even if you have a lot of things stacked up that just might be a little bit overwhelming, at least you get to make a decision on what is important to you. So I personally do look forward to this and how it might look and relate to our future. Besides that, I think the most important, interesting areas is just going to be think about that Mars and Uranus area because, again, that's in Gemini, so, it can be pretty spread out and amongst the people, especially with a Jupiter that's wanting to show off a little bit more because that's what it is with Leo. They show off more. I think Aries is not necessarily show off more, but they do things that are noticeable. It's the first sign, so, want to be first. Very important. Again, making that direction. And then when you're dealing with Leo, it's fixed, so it's going to hone in on whatever that the next direction is and keep to it, stick to it, display it, show it, be it. That's what a Leo is. It's like the lion, the king, or the queen, whatever you decide there. Pretty fun stuff, I would say, to look at. So a person that's a Leo rising, they may have a lot to look forward to because Jupiter will be here over the next year or so. That's 2 years or something like that. That's usually what a Jupiter transit is. Other than that, you also do have Jupiter now in a pretty interesting square with Pluto in Aquarius. So the other aspect of that is Pluto does make a trine to Uranus and, obviously Mars that's in another air sign, which is Gemini. So again, guys, it just will be big conversations available for the people, more than likely, because that's Aquarius. Truth being a little bit more available than maybe, before, because you also got to think about those planets of Neptune and Saturn. They're in Aries right now, so that's a little less foggy than, the period of time when they were in Pisces. A lot of information could be 100% available for, the greater good or the collective. We are going to also deal with the nodes because you guys remember with those that usually is where those eclipses are. We're finally going to be at a place where we see the North Node in Pisces and South Node in Virgo. At the moment, they don't necessarily make any trines to any of the information as far as the celestial bodies go. But still, this is a new space. You just got to have to consider these areas because right now they're at the 1 degree, but they move backwards, so it's strange. They move backwards as far as, I guess, the signs go. So from 1 degrees, it'll obviously end up being up to 10 degrees and so on and so forth before it changed to the other sign. Before it was Aquarius and Leo. We just have a lot of information to look forward to. And then also you have the new eclipse cycles that will be in these perspective signs. I don't really have much else to kind of cover other than the fact that this will be video, so hopefully you guys will be able to follow along a little bit more as far as, you know, the information that I use and help to go over, you know, as far as forecasting goes for astrology. I think this will be probably one of my more interesting episodes that I have to edit and look at. So if you made it this far, thank you so much. And hopefully this information is important enough for you to, you know, share with someone else, or again, look at your own charts, which you will see all this stuff if you watch the video version versus audio version. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time.